And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bubba and the Bloom, episode 233, coming at you on a Thursday evening to preview the Week 4 FAAB ahead for you, going through matchups, two-start pitchers, most added on CBS, and much, much more. Talking some news and other shenanigans as usual. But first off, you can follow me on Twitter at BDNtrick, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod, on Patreon at patreon.com/Bubba Bloom, and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at RyanBHQ. Ryan Bloomfield, how we doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. Happy Masters Week to you, to all. I'm going to show off all my stuff here. Watch with my gnome. I always point with the wrong finger. Watch with my...
Yeah, so I was like looking at that.
Dude, it's all reversed. It's a StreamYard setting, I guess. Happy Masters Day to you. Happy Masters Week. Honestly, like a lot of Thursdays, I'm bummed when there's not a whole lot of games, but today is like, I'll shift my attention down to Augusta. So that was good, but I know people probably don't care. What people do care about, what I care about, is you, my friend, are leading the draft champions overall. First place. Congratulations. I'm not trying to jinx you, I swear.
No, not at all.
Nice start, my friend.
I appreciate it. I'll take the congrats, but I'm also very aware this will come crashing down at some point in time.
And we've got Tid's leading the main. So while I just go scorched earth here, congrats to Tid as well, you guys.
Going into this week, and I don't know if it's still the case, I could probably look, but Churchill was leading the 50s. The Discord is well represented in the overall competitions right now. It's pretty nice to see. Pretty nice. So
I'm nowhere to be found, but it's I'd like to think it's my teachings, right? It's my Churchill's fifth in the 50s. That's awesome too.
Yeah, it's like we said when I was in the listener leagues. I'm almost dead last in the overall listener leagues, and everybody in the Discord quickly stated. It's like the old teaching adage: "Do as I say, not as I do." So, yes, that's where we lie on that one. That's by far my worst league.
You've moved up.
I'm like 146 overall from 148 last I checked.
You're 146 out of 150.
I moved up 2 spots, but it'll be a long time to get out of that spot. My worst leagues is our listener league, TGFBI, and Barf. So. I guess if there's any leagues to struggle in, I guess those are the ones.
It's your FAAB leagues. It's your FAAB leagues too. That's a lesson learned.
Yeah, we'll see. But before we get into FAAB, the other lesson learned I was going to say is, we did FAAB this last week, and I'm looking at standings, and I had a lot of like 10th, 11th, 12th place teams going, God, this isn't good. Just took a couple of hot days, and like the Vegas league we have, I was up to 3rd. Now I'm back to 8th. My point being, stuff is still so young and raw that there's so much movement. So don't get devastated. People are already like, I'm falling behind. I got to make moves and all this stuff.
No,
we kind of said a little bit the other day, but like it's so much season to go and a lot of moving pieces. Like you can take big jumps real quick and fall real quick and then come back again real quick. Yeah. So.
And I've even seen and certainly like Cat, I've seen a couple. I'm falling behind in this category, that category. Like don't even keep an eye on it, but don't even adjust for it yet. Like it's still extremely early, as many of our smart listeners know.
Yes, most definitely. All right, before we get into the FAAB preview for the week, a little bit of news, a little less than Tuesdays, but a couple big names nonetheless. Wyatt Langford hits the IL with an oblique injury. It's the opposite oblique that he hurt in spring. They're saying it's less, but there's no grade. Less injured, but they gave us no grade at the same time. Thoughts?
Would you rather it be the same oblique or this, where now we potentially have 2 bad sides to Wyatt Langford?
Yeah, I'm torn on that, honestly. Like his is as well, but
no pun intended. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I'd rather be neither. Is that an option? But it's just bad overall. And the only guy hitting in Texas has now had a second oblique injury already.
Yep. That was the thing, is Wyatt Langford was actually quite quickly making me look bad with my Jackson Merrill Wyatt Langford beer bet.
Merrill's playing really good too.
Yeah. Also on the IL, but they can hang out. They can hang out with each other there. So yeah, no, it's tough. I don't know if it's like an overcompensating thing with the other oblique, but I mean, nothing you can really do about it. You're not dropping Wyatt Langford. I know we talked on Tuesday about like kind of my rule of 2 injury stashes. Once you get to 3rd, it's really hard to keep that 3rd guy. I think Wyatt Langford is very safely a hold wherever you can and for however long you can. We'll talk about FAAB reactions to it, I guess, when we get to Texas. But looks like Josh Smith will probably play some left field. The guy just plays everywhere. So I don't know. Could be an option this week.
Yep, totally agree with you there. Could be an option, not the more of a deep league play, as I'll say time and time again.
Yes.
Justin Steele to the IL for the Chicago Cubs with left elbow tendonitis, the same injury that he had towards the end of last season. Seemed like he was finally putting a good start together in his most recent appearance. And then they said he tweaked it midway through the start and kept pitching. These guys that keep doing this stuff are making me very cranky at times because this is ridiculous. But there's no timetable for his return. And I'm honestly seriously nervous about this one.
Right. And it was just so random in terms of just how good Steele was pitching. Now he did miss. I mean, at the end of last season, I believe it was an elbow, if I remember correctly. Justin Steele missed some time, did come back and have some couple short abbreviated outings at the end of last season. But that makes it even more worrisome, right? Is that this is probably something that is lingering and he's been dealing with for a little bit of time and just hasn't been able to get right. So I am worried about Justin Steele. I think you have to hold until we get further information, but it's a tough one for someone who looked pretty good. I guess it's Colin Ray time.
Yeah.
It's Colin Ray time.
Yeah, they're saying Ray or Wicks, and they haven't announced it yet, but it feels like Colin Ray time. This is what they signed him for, essentially.
Yeah, neither one. Colin Ray's next two starts would be at the Dodgers, I think, on Sunday, and then against the Diamondbacks. So
that's a no for me, Doug.
Yeah, do not pick up Colin Ray. That's a nay for Ray.
Yeah, well done. Your boy Pablo Lopez hits the IL with a grade 1 though hamstring strain, which is usually a 2 to 3 weeks. So about the 15-day IL, we might see him right when he's off or shortly thereafter. That's a plus. Everybody wanted Zebby. We get David Festa, which is totally fine by us as well. Festa's getting called up to start on Friday for the Minnesota Twins, so we'll see how he does before FAAB kicks off on Sunday. Because if people said he was going to start on Monday, he'd still be very popular in FAAB. If he pitches well tomorrow, Ryan, buckle up.
Buckle up, as they say. I everyone loves Zebby. I like Zebby, but I think I like Festa even more than Zebby. So I think the Twins made the right call. I think it just lined up right in terms of like the days that were scheduled to pitch. So it's David Festa time, not Matt Festa. Going back to my FAAB mistake, I still screw that up. I don't even know if Matt Festa. I shouldn't even talk about Matt Festa because I'm going to get.
Don't put that name into the atmosphere.
Yeah. It's kind of honestly though, it's kind of crappy because like I think in our listener league I have held David Festa. Maybe I just haven't been able to drop him. But you're right. Like if David Festa comes out and pitches very well on Friday, that FAAB price I think is going to be bonkers, especially in 15-teamers because we're already seeing starting pitching. It's just like this every year. Good starting pitching is kind of a wasteland. And while the Pablo Lopez injury isn't long, it's just like if Festa gets his foot in the door in the rotation, who knows if, Simeon Woods Richardson could get hurt. Who knows if Joe Ryan, who ended last season hurt, goes back again. So all you really need is that rotation spot. A couple of weeks, you could be stuck in there for quite some time. So David Festa, I think, is just really damn good. 13% swinging strike last year, 28% K rate in 64 innings. And it was all under the guise of this inflated ERA, right? 4.90 ERA, 132 WHIP. I know everyone out there is smarter than to just look at those results, but David Festa was actually a really good pitcher last year in his first go around in the majors. Could be and probably should be even better this year. So I am very high on Mr. David Festa.
Yep. I'm with you on that one. And heck, maybe Chris Paddock finally gets out of the way as well.
Right. Or yes, exactly. Like, and I just can't, if Festa comes up and pitches well, like can't send the guy back down, especially, I forgot about Paddock. It's a good call.
Yeah. Last one I got, a couple more here. Zach Eflin goes to the IL with a latch strain. He's going to be shut down for 7 days. Then they'll reevaluate him. As we said on the last show, like hold on to him until that. But reason I wanted to bring this back up, because we did talk, it was like the 7-day shutdown broke during the last show. Kyle Gibson threw on Thursday opposite Spencer Strider, who apparently looks very ready to come to the big league level. Mm-hmm. Gibson will be the guy that takes the spot. Eflin's next start should be a bullpen game, it looks like. We'll see. But anything else on the Zach Eflin deal? Because I'm just waiting for the 7-day diagnosis.
Not really. Who does Gibson line up against, or who would he line up against his next couple starts? Because that's always the question with Kyle Gibson. He's like the ultimate streamer his entire career. You can get burned by him, but you can play the matchups with him.
Yeah, they have this kid named Brandon Young on RotoWire right now, but assuming that is Kyle Gibson, it's at home versus Cincinnati next Saturday, and then the following week it's at Detroit on Friday.
Yeah, I'm not all that enthused.
Yeah. Wait and see on that one. Last bit of news I wanted to update here is Spencer Arrighetti will not require surgery, so now we should get him back sometime in June instead of the All-Star break. Sometime in June is still a month and a half to 2 months, depends on how that goes. That still feels like a drop in an NIL league.
I think so too, unless you've been fortunate with injuries. And it's not like a lot of smart people really like Spencer Arrighetti, and the ceiling is there, but you probably drafted him as your SP 4 or 5. And if that person is out for 2 months, that's a really hard hold, assuming you have other injuries and whatnot on your team. So like, I'm not even like, we just talked about Steele. We just talked about Pablo Lopez. I'd hold Eflin over Arrighetti. I think Arrighetti is probably a drop if you've got a couple other injured guys. I agree.
All righty, that wraps up the news segment of the show. It is
pretty light. Pretty light.
Yes. Let's not jinx it for the future, but yes, it was pretty light today compared to Tuesday's massacre that took place at the beginning of our show. Much lighter. Hopefully it stays that way. Like I didn't add Mike Talkman going to the IL. I didn't add Corey Lee going to the IL. Stuff like that. Didn't really have it as much.
Hey, but as our buddy Jason in the chat mentions, glorious day on Friday. Freddie Freeman supposed to be back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I posted in the Discord when someone posted the news. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it. But we are supposed to get Freddie Freeman back on Friday. Let's go.
Keep him away from all slippery surfaces. Away from all.
I don't care how he smells. Don't shower. Yeah. No soap. Let's play.
Yep. It's wild stuff that
he can smell like crap for all I care. Just don't make that same mistake twice.
Yeah, it's the essence of Dodgers. All right, let's get after it. Week 4 FAAB coming your way. What are we checking out this week, my friend? What stands out to you? Who's got 6-7 games? What's the goods?
Yeah. I've got the weekly planner up again. This is available for all of our Patreon folks, subscribers, updated every day, at least over the weekend and Fridays and Mondays. So this is available to you if you join up and want to support the show. For me, this is the biggest week in terms of games played. There are maybe like a third of the league plays 7 games. It's the Yankees, Rays, Tigers, Royals, Mets, Phillies, Nationals, Pirates, Cardinals, and your San Francisco Giants all play 10 games, and there's no 5-team games, or 5-game weeks for any team. So this is the biggest in terms of volume of games, biggest week of baseball we will have had this year. Because I think in the past it's only been like 4 or so teams per week with 7 games, and that's now gone, which is awesome.
Yeah, now that everyone's had their home openers, they don't have the automatic off days, all that kind of stuff. It's time to get at it, see where it goes. Just remember, weather's still being quite goofy in April, so there might be some postponements and stuff in there. But for now, 10 teams, a third of the league, will play 7 games this week, which is definitely a plus on this one. But all right, for those that are new to the show, we go team by team, talking schedules, talking about who we might be willing to stream, so on and so forth as we go through that. So we will kick off with the American League East with the Baltimore Orioles, who have 6 games this week, all at home, 3 versus Cleveland, 3 versus Cincinnati, but it's 3 lefties and 3 righties, which makes it very difficult to stream.
Yeah, which makes it difficult to stream. I saw my former boy Ryan O'Hearn hit his first homer this week. That's great to see, but you're not starting O'Hearn against three righties. Even like Heston Kjerstad sat against a lefty on Sunday and honestly hasn't done that much himself. So we're still kind of in wait and see mode with Heston Kjerstad. Outside of that, I don't really have much else. You're starting Cedric Mullins, no doubt. He's been awesome this year. Are you starting Jackson Holiday in a 3-righty week. Well, that remains to be seen if he's a full-time player still, or is still a platoon guy.
Yeah,
so
with Gunner back, it changes things potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he sat versus the last lefty they faced. That'll be something to keep an eye on for sure.
I actually, so I had and I took some notes for this one. I actually had Brandon Young as a potential. I make these notes and then I forget that I even wrote them 3 hours later. Maybe I actually need to do the pen and paper thing that you do.
Goes a long ways.
But like, I think from a fantasy ceiling aspect, Brandon Young versus Kyle Gibson for that fill-in spot with Zach Eflin out. Brandon Young's at least interesting to me. 20% strikeout minus walk, 111 innings in the minors last year. Like a pretty good sample size. I don't think he has the highest ceiling or whatever, but he's probably ready. I'd like to at least see what Brandon Young can do, and I would at least probably bid on him if he is in the rotation. But it does look like it'll be Gibson, but just keep an eye on Brandon Young if that changes.
Yeah, Brandon Young probably is better than Kyle Gibson. It's just they paid Kyle Gibson.
Exactly.
That's the problem. But I agree with you. If for some reason something changes, then you're on par. The one thing I will mention to everybody, if you didn't listen to Breakfast with Bubba, or if you're in the Patreon and didn't read the news, keep an eye on Jordan Westberg. He got the day off on Wednesday because he's dealing with an upper body injury, as Brandon Hyde said. He's been dealing with it pretty much all season and will continue to get occasional days off. So nothing you can do about that. Just a heads up.
Yeah. When you said that this morning, because I'd listened to Breakfast with Bub on my walk, when you said that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like this is something that's not going away for Jordan Westberg. That's an issue.
Yeah. I'm thinking like he's got this. We're like 2 weeks into the season. Today we find out Ezekiel Tovar has been dealing with a hip injury. So he's getting the day off today. And he's going to have this similar to the Westberg, like he'll get the days off to heal. It's like, what's going on right now? This is crazy talk. We're taking crazy pills. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind if you're a Jordan Westberg guy. We like him a lot, but he's dealing with something. And it wouldn't be shocked if eventually they go, you know what, a 10-day stint might be what he needs to heal things up.
Yeah.
All right, Boston Red Sox, they got 6 games this week, 3 at the Tampa Bay Rays, 3 at home versus the White Sox. That's a pretty favorable situation. You got a great ballpark to hit in and some bad pitching to face, and it's 1 lefty and 5 righties. That's a pretty sweet situation, except most Red Sox are rostered.
Yeah, a roster, but like I think a lot of folks out there may be weighing a start-sit decision for like a Wilyer Abreu, and I think it's go time against 5 righties, so it should be a good week for Wilyer Abreu. I don't really have much else. I mean, Connor Wong is on the IL, and Carlos Narvaez is the most likely fill-in for now. Had some strikeout issues in AAA last year. 11 homers, 9 steals, over like 400 some odd plate appearances. Carlos Narvaez is probably just a second catcher filler if you're desperate for someone, or had Connor Wong on your team. So that's about it. It's good to see Walker Buehler pitch well. Was that today or yesterday?
It was today. He pitched well today. Listening to like Nick Pollock and some others, they said he still doesn't have anywhere close to the goods, but he got through it today. So we'll see.
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I was with you. I was like, "Oh, look at the stat line. That's great."
Okay, I didn't watch it.
Analyze the stuff. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I was working. Sorry, I was busy. Yeah, day before.
Damn. Never mind.
The one thing I will mention, Richard Fitz is facing the White Sox next week. He is 81% rostered in OC, so it's pretty widely rostered. But if you Yahoo, CBS folks, the ESPN like to stream dailies, Richard Fitz is you might be able to make that fit in your lineup. So figure it out. I was trying to keep it clean, Ryan. I see you shaking your head.
You're like smiling like a 12-year-old kid trying to keep
I really wanted to if we went after dark, that would have been fun. New York Yankees, 7 games this week, 3 at home versus the Kansas City Royals, 4 at the Tampa Bay Rays, 1 lefty, 6 righties. I'll give you the floor, but there is a name that actually might be in play this week.
Is it Trent Grisham?
Yes. I wrote about it.
It's kind of hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, he's hitting very well right now.
He is. He is actually one of on our free agent risers tab of this weekly planner. I think Trent Grisham is the top hitting riser across Fantrax leagues. So you're not the only one who's at least interested in Trent Grisham. I mean, he's been playing every day. He did sit on Wednesday.
I'm concerned. That's what I was. I'm concerned about the playing time for the fact that he played when like Bellinger was banged up,
Bellinger.
and
Yep.
then like Dominguez got a day off, so he's like filling in kind of. So now all three outfielders are back. How does that play out now?
Right. Exactly. And it's Trent Grisham.
Yes,
Like
fair, very
I
fair.
think we've been there. Though Trent Grisham is still only 28. I would have guessed.
That's
I
wild.
would have taken the over on that had I not looked. So Trent Grisham, I wouldn't go overboard. It just seems like with the free agent trends that we're looking at, Grisham is probably going to be overpriced in FAAB. You're kind of paying for what he did last week. I share those concerns on a fully healthy Yankees team. If he will, I don't even expect him to be an everyday player, but you kind of want him to play 5 out of 6 type of a deal. And I don't even know if he'll do that. So we'll see. I do think one guy I'll add is if you need third base, Oswaldo Cabrera is pretty much a strong side platooner right now and hitting decently well in a week where the Yankees get 6 righties. So if you're down a corner, which is always a hard spot to fill, especially in 15 teamers, Oswaldo Cabrera is, I think, could be a pretty interesting option for you because also, I mean, it's 3 at home, right, against Kansas City, and he'll be hitting from the left side at home, and then it's the Rays, so going to wherever the Rays play.
Yeah.
So
the Yankees,
I like
the
Oswaldo.
Yankees single A park, so it fits.
Yeah, like I can't. Yeah, that's yes. Where is the Yankees single A?
It's in Tampa.
It is
It's outside of Tampa. I'm pretty sure that's why they took that.
No, it is
ballpark.
Tampa. Yeah, stadium in Tampa, Florida. I should know these things.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, the Cabrera thing. He's on the a couple of my DC teams, and so that's been a plus.
Yep.
No power yet, but a lot of that's because he has no barrels. But he is elevating the ball, so hopefully things continue to grow there. But I like that shout out in your maybe deeper leagues, or if you want to stream a corner infielder because you have Cam Smith or Matt Shaw or somebody that's been horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
it's not a bad week to do it, folks. Tampa Bay Rays, they have 7 games this week, 3 at home versus Boston, 4 at home versus the Yanks. So 7 games in that beautiful, beautiful ballpark. 3 lefties and 4 righties might make that a little more complicated.
Yeah, it's nice that they're all at home, especially for your Rays lefties. So you want to take a look at that. Jonathan Aranda, Cameron Meisner, but it is a 3-4 split. And both Aranda and Meisner did not start the last time that the Rays faced a lefty. So it sounds like this is going to be the Rays being the Rays of previous years and platooning a bunch of these guys. So I honestly don't have too much here in terms of an ad
style.
I know you just want to say Mangum style, which is a good nickname. I'll give you credit. Yeah. It's not bad. One thing like is we've gotten questions on. I think we hold if you can, but Christopher Morel.
We have a question on that later. Yep.
We do. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm leaning hold, especially with DeLuca now on the IL. I think the playing time is going to be there in a roundabout way, and the skills look okay, but it's been tough to start Christopher Morel this season.
Yeah, he has been a bench for me right now and almost dropped last week. So
okay,
I get the pain. Let's put it that way. I understand that very, very well.
He is in NFBC 12 teamers. Morel's basically what you're doing, Bubba. 78% roster, 28% started. So, but people are getting that itchy finger as injuries pile up and that sort of thing. So
almost happened last week. And the hardest thing is with Morel is he's gonna have those weeks where he just goes off. But if he's been so bad, those are on your bench, and that's gonna suck.
Yep,
that's where it sucks with that. So just be prepared for the fun that he will ensue with. Toronto Blue Jays 6 games this week, 3 at home versus Atlanta, 3 at home versus Seattle. All 6 right-handed pitchers. I will preface this before I give you the floor, though. It's Holmes, Schwellenbach, Strider, Gilbert, Lawrence, and Luis Castillo. So 4 to 4.5 of those are very tough pitchers.
And your Toronto lefties are Will Wagner, Alan Roden. I don't think you go there against that crew. And I do think Strider will make his return. I think he will make that start next week. So that's tough. I think the biggest FAAB question for Toronto is on the mound. It's Easton Lucas, who I kind of crapped on last time because there wasn't that much of a track record, kind of a journeyman, was on 3 teams last year in the minors, was like decent skills, but went out and pitched very well. I think against the Red Sox.
Yep.
In his most recent start.
Hasn't allowed a run yet.
And he gets Seattle. Easton Lucas gets Seattle next week. So I don't know. I feel like I will probably be outbid on Easton Lucas. I'll probably have some tempered bids in there, but I think Easton Lucas will be pretty popular in FAAB this weekend, just coming off that start against the Sox and going into a matchup against the hapless Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, that's where are my Toronto? There they are. Yeah, because Lucas, like you say, gets Seattle, and then the following week they're expecting Scherzer back to kick Lucas out of the rotation. So you might get one last hurrah, but we'll see where that goes. They do like their journeyman though. That's how the Bowden Francis thing went last year.
I was just Bowden Francis just came into mind. It's like you can run into a 3-month heater with these types of guys. It's happened on the same team recently, but I don't know. It just feels like Easton Lucas. It feels like a trap to me.
Yes, it does. All right, to the AL Central we go. The Chicago White Sox, 6 games this week, 3 at home versus the Athletics, 3 at the Boston Red Sox, 3 lefties, 3 righties, not to mention it is the Chicago White Sox.
It is. We talked about Shane Smith a little bit last week and pitched well in his most recent start. Decent ground ball guy, decent amount of whiffs, 22% K- walk, mostly in Double-A last year. I think Shane Smith
at Boston
is considerable, I guess. I don't know. As you say, at Boston in the middle of my sentence, I'm like, oh shit. I don't know. He's got some, like, I would take Shane Smith, I think, over Easton Lucas. I may be in the minority on that because like the win potential is so low, but Shane Smith actually looked pretty good his last time out, and unlike Lucas, has, I think, a bit of a higher ceiling given age and minor league skills.
All right. Well, I'll let you run with
that. You're not a Shane Smith fan.
I'm avoiding it. I might miss the train on that one, I guess, but I just don't see any win equity at all. And we'll have to see if we're good with five or 6 inning quality start type guys, and if you want a Michael Walker type, go for it.
Hey, those are good types. What do you think about? So I think he was officially called up today. Chase Mydroth.
I like him a lot. I have him on some DCs. I thought he was going to be the starting shortstop out of camp. He should have been starting shortstop out of camp. Yeah, I like Chase Mydroth. Yes.
We will see how often he plays this weekend. We'll get to see that, and obviously, of course, how he does. Could be eligible. Could get like the Matt Shaw eligibility treatment in some league formats.
That's so bad.
Agreed, but I don't know. 3 homers in 40 plate appearances in the White Sox in AAA this year. Mydroth, like you said, Bubba, had some momentum to make the team out of camp, and now he's here. So someone to look at, especially if you need corner help. And it's also that catch-22 though. The better he does this weekend, the more that FAAB price goes up. But someone who I will definitely have on my FAAB list this weekend, Chase Mydroth.
Yeah, this spring he struggled. That's what got him kicked down because he only hit $148 in spring, but he's picked it up in AAA, as you said. I want to look at that real quick, and I think he's pretty good. He's 23 years old, young ball player. Should hold the seat warm until Colson Montgomery gets there later this year. All righty. Do you look at a guy like, let's say, JP Sears to pitch against the White Sox?
Of course,
in Chicago.
Yeah, I will do that.
Yeah, that's why he's only 13% rostered in 12. Sears is that boring, just steady Eddie guy that he'll get shelled once in a while, but more often than not, like you got Osvaldo Bitos. Like this is the week. I was
gonna say, what about your former boy here, Osvaldo?
If you have any A's pitchers, this is the week, folks. So I'm gonna say, like, this is one of your opportunities this season to get it in where it fits in, because Dick Fitz pitches on Thursday. Cleveland Guardians, 3 at Baltimore, 3 at the Pittsburgh Pirates. 1 lefty, 5 righties for the Guardians here. Who are you liking?
No, nobody. I mean, I could sit here and say Nolan Jones because he will probably start 5 times against 5 righties, but like Nolan Jones has been pretty terrible and doesn't have the Coors factor anymore. Manzardo's rostered, Kwan's rostered. Bo Naylor, if available as a second catcher, could be interesting, but that's about all I got for Cleveland.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's not a whole lot to roll with on that, and it's probably more of a Pittsburgh conversation. But I am curious because Harrington got sent back to AAA today. Really looking forward to seeing if Bubba gets the call or not. So something to monitor on that one.
Oh, where did that come from? We're not even on Pittsburgh.
I know. That's probably all I saw because they're facing.
Oh, they're
him
playing
in
Pittsburgh.
schedule.
I
Yes,
got you.
yes.
Okay.
So it's
I was
probably
like,
more a Pirates thing, but I saw that and that can make things quite interesting as well.
I follow now. I follow.
All right, the Detroit Tigers 3 at the Milwaukee Brewers, 4 at home versus the Kansas City Royals. 3 lefties, 4 righties for a team that definitely likes to platoon certain positions.
Interesting team for FAAB this year. I'll dangle the dingler out there and see. I think he's a decent catcher option, certainly better than some of the catchers I've mentioned already on this episode. Dylan Dingler is the primary catcher for Detroit, so I like that as an ad. A little bit less so, but like in 15 teamers, maybe. I mean, Justin Henry Malloy hasn't done much, but he's leading off every day as a DH, which is just weird.
Very weird.
But if you're in super deep leagues and you need someone who's going to play a lot as a leadoff guy, you do have Henry Malloy who has power, but hasn't hit a homer yet this year and is hitting 231. So I don't really understand that from the Tigers aspect. Zach McKinstry is also hitting very well lately, playing most of the time, eligible everywhere, and is popular. But it's at the end of the day, it's Zach McKinstry. So I don't know. Kind of a lot of names here, but not much clarity. No saves clarity either for Detroit.
No.
I don't even think they've had a save.
No, Brant Herter.
Brant Herter had a 40-pitch save, of course.
He leads the team with 2 saves. They're both multi-inning saves.
Yeah, so it's just very tough to have any idea on that Detroit bullpen.
Yep, we mentioned how messy it could be, and so far it has been that situation. Yeah. Kansas City Royals, they have 7 games as well, 3 at the Yankees, 3 at the Detroit Tigers this week, 2 lefties, 5 righties for the Royals, which means your boy is back on the table once again. He had the day off on Thursday. It was his first day off this season, so they gave him a breather. But he continues to play pretty much every day now at second base for your Royals.
Yeah, Michael Massey, I guess. I don't know. He's been more like a hill this year. The production hasn't been there quite yet for
he's
Michael
more like
Massey.
A plateau at this point in time.
He's more like hitting 233 with no homers and no steals through 46 plate appearances. So
he's closer to a mesa than a mountain.
It's more like an Augusta slope as opposed to a mountain for Mount Massey. So I don't know if there's a get right week, maybe this is that because the writings. Well, yeah. I don't know. 15 team only.
Yep.
What are you doing with have we talked about Lucas Erceg? Like he doesn't have a save this year.
He's dominating the 8th innings right now. Like filthy yet again, like he was with Oakland.
But like great, but like
oh yeah, you can't
hold him. I mean he does not have the job. Like Estevez, I think
Estevez has it till he gets hurt, which he could. But yes.
And Lucas Erceg still 82% owned in NFBC 12 teamers, 37% started. It's just a tough, unlike like a Jordan Romano who hasn't pitched well. Erceg actually is, but just doesn't have the gig, and that means everything.
No, it's a good point. It's just Yuka's number has not allowed a run yet this season over 6 1/3. He's only got 4 Ks, but 1 walk, 2 hits. So like just the numbers are lights out good, but to your point, 0 saves because there's just straight up he's the 8th inning guy with an occasional 7th inning role. There's no. So to your point, yes, you can probably drop him, but if you have one stash spot, it's not the worst guy to stash because we know if he gets the job, he can just absolutely.
He could be really good. There's also in Solds leagues, of course, but since I bring up Solds leagues because Hunter Harvey's been really good. Yep. It's been like 5 or 6 innings, but he's been awesome.
Well, it's like we said when they built this bullpen because you had the pitchers they had. If they can just get you 5 or 6, and you can get to Harvey, Erceg, and Estevez, this team's going to win a lot of ball games.
Yeah,
and so far that recipe is working out pretty well, at least to get to that end of the game for the Royals.
Yep, agreed.
And I'm glad you brought the Solds thing because I can't remember where I heard it the other day, but I think Erceg now has like 5 saves holds and Harvey has like 4. So, and Estevez has like 3 saves. So they both are doing technically better than him. And thus the conversation of the saves holds versus saves argument kind of justified in one team. Yeah. All right. Minnesota Twins here. You got 6 games this week, 3 against the Mets, 3 at the Atlanta Braves. 1 lefty and 5 righties for the Twins. The team originally known as the line change does not have much of a line change anymore.
Yeah, it's been, as we talked about on our Tuesday team level trend show, Minnesota's been brutal against lefties. I do need to wave the French flag, the Eiffel Tower emoji. Ty France, home run yesterday.
No, you get the flag. Do not ever use the Eiffel Tower emoji, and that's for somebody else, and we know that.
There is a Paris versus France debate in the Discord this week.
Yes.
I don't know. I just had to throw that one out there. I mean, you could. Ty France is actually startable in 15s this week, but I know you probably disagree. None of the lefties outside of Matt Wallner. I think like Trevor Larnach's okay, but like this is not the Twins lineup that we're familiar with. Harrison Bader starting to slow down predictably. The mascot Willie Castro hasn't really done much. It's just been a team level slump for the Twins so far.
Yep, a team level of suck around there. So the most important thing with the Minnesota Twins is, what does David Festa cost this weekend? That's the one you got to remember, folks. Mark that one down on your calendar.
Yep.
Because that's the biggie. All right, to the AL West we go, to the Athletics. They're on the road this week, so they're actually like the Sacramento A's, I guess, because they're on the road. We actually call them that. I don't know. I really don't. But 3 at the White Sox, 3 at the Brew Crew. Good hitting chances this week. 1 lefty, 5 righties, assuming the weather's good in Chicago. But pretty good setup for the Athletics if you're into rostering a J.J. Bleday or something, because everybody else should be taken care of.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everyone else is pretty much rostered. Jacob Wilson keeps making me look like an idiot because he's playing quite well and seemingly taking a step forward as a 23-year-old, which imagine that in his second go around in the big leagues. So what?
Bleday's 97% rostered in OCs. Good Lord.
Really?
These are all rostered. Yeah. That's what I was like. I thought like maybe
what is
30%.
What is Max Muncy? Because that's the one note I have. He looks completely overmatched to me, to the point where I don't
3%. 3%.
Okay, never mind then. That's my 15 team brain. But like there was some FAAB spent on Max Muncy, and I think you can probably cut bait there. He has not looked good at all so far.
I think that's a good call. And then, as we said, the main culprits, JP Sears, Osvaldo Bido, as they take on the White Sox, is where you want to plant that flag this week, most likely.
Yep.
All right. Houston Astros here. They have 6 games this week, 3 at St. Louis, 3 at home versus San Diego. 2 lefties and 4 righties for the Houston Astros. This is Cam Smith was on the chopping block last week for me, and he's getting even closer to actually cutting the rope on this one. Anything else you have with these guys?
No, not really. I mean, this is a very like normal lineup. Not many platoons, not any platoons, and their starters play. Their bench guys don't. R.I.P. Chas McCormick has not been seen in about a week. Cam Smith probably, it's one of those opportunity cost thing. Even if you spend a bunch in FAAB, you need to start looking at other spots because it does not look good for Cam Smith. Outside of that, Ryan Gusto, I guess, is Spencer Getty's replacement. I am not going for the Gusto, picking him up.
Well done.
That's it, man.
I wrote up Gusto in one of the PT Tomorrow columns towards the end of spring. Does have okay strikeout stuff, and ratios are kind of up and down throughout the minors. So he started out well in his first start at AAA. His first appearance with the Astros this season. He's pitched out of the bullpen for 4 games. I think they go to someone else in the minors. We'll see. Roster Resource has Gusto there now. I think we see a lot of people saying AJ Bluebaugh is the guy that we should be getting to. He actually pitched 128 innings last year, 128 innings last year overall. He's made 2 starts, 9 innings with a ERA of 2 so far at AAA, with a 33% K rate in those 9 innings.
19% swinging strike as well for Bluebaugh.
I'm hoping that's who we see. that would be a much better addition to Gusto. Gusto should be just a bullpen arm if they play their cards right. So it'd be a Padre start next week, which would not be great, but it might mean we get to see Blue Ball this weekend if that's what they do, and at least you can bid on him potentially, and then you can kind of play the game accordingly from there.
Blue Ball, or assuming Blue Ball gets. I have no idea if that's even how you pronounce this, because that's just
neither do I. Neither do I. It's just it's better that I'm saying the "ba" part at the end for now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I won't even finish my comment there. We've had enough Blue Ball discussion here.
All right, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, 6 games coming up this week. 3 at the Texas Rangers, 3 at home versus the Gigantes. 1 lefty, 5 righties for the Angels. The Eiffel Tower Angels here. So, what do you have?
I don't have much. I do just want to. I gave you kudos on social media last evening. Everyone's all about Kyron Paris right now, and Bubba, you wrote him up for Baseball HQ back on March 11th, which a full month ago, when I had no idea who Kyron Paris was. I don't think anyone did, and kind of screen grabbed it, and it was quite the write up for him. So kudos, my friend. I don't like. I mean, so he's been awesome.
Yeah.
Like, how sustainable is like ton of strikeouts in the minors last year? I know this Aaron Judge swing coach thing, rework the swing. Like, and I'm just kind of saying this because Kyron Paris is 70%, I think, rostered in 12 teamers. So
he's
like,
going to be expensive this weekend.
Exactly. And I think listeners out there are like, do I want to spend 150, $200, whatever? I don't know what it is going to be on Kyron Paris. And I hate to be like, just throw cold water on the guy, but I don't know, man. I feel like he could get eaten up. I think Curlin had a tweet today, or maybe
his
put
tweet's
in the Discord
perfect
about how pitchers are approaching him. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to hit the Curlin part because it's the example everyone likes to give. We've seen so many prospects come up and crush it, and I think Paris is much better than your average prospect. So I think he'll be okay if the Angels give him the chance to be okay. That's the big question, because he's crushing fastballs in the heart of the zone. And that's been good, and his swing discipline's been pretty good. But the old adage is, okay, they want to see if a prospect can hit the fastball. If they can do that, now we're going to adjust. Now can Kyron Paris hit the slider that's falling off the table, or can he avoid chasing it? Like, there's all these types of things, and if he can do that, then God, he's going to be worth every penny you can pay in FAAB this weekend. The odds of that happening right away aren't good. I still think if the Angels stick with him and he makes the proper adjustments, 2 big ifs, he still has massive 2020 upside. Like, and you're not going to find that for 5 months of a season coming up right now.
Yeah. So that's a really good point at the end there, and this is more just kind of general FAAB strategy at this point. When just Kyron Paris is like, yes, it's 2 big ifs. I would argue even just 1 big if. Like, I think he's going to play regularly with the Angels, especially with Moncada out. Like, I think the playing time will be there. Like, maybe it's a 20% chance Kyron Paris is like a new hitter and has figured things out. Maybe it's a 15% chance. So like, maybe it's not the best chance in the world, but if it hits, like, that is a game-changing hit.
Yes.
And that is, a lot of folks play FAAB that way, is you give yourself 3 or 4 bites at the apple for these major game changers. And you're right. Like, I don't think there are many guys out there with a ceiling of Kyron Paris. If, again, big if, all these changes kind of are somewhat sustainable. Of course, not going to keep the current thing. So I'm kind of talking both ends here. Like, I don't think Kyron Paris is worth it for me, but I also get the appeal of, like, if you believe this is a changed guy and he does 75% of this the rest of the way, like, you have had a massive hit and you've done it early in the season.
Yeah, and we've already seen Noel Moncada's hurt. He shouldn't be stopping Paris from playing if he's hitting. That's a simple one to me. Rengifo, we know his injury history. Adele's already been banged up. Like, we're seeing pretty soon you're going to have Paris as second base, third base, and outfield eligible. Like, by the end of April, he might have all 3. So you throw that onto the mix of a guy that might be much better than he's 23. I think he's worth a hefty bid. I usually don't bid a lot. That's my problem to try to get him here. But I will support anybody that wants to go for it for like at least $150, $200. Like, that's what it's going to cost in reality. That's what it's going to cost. Yep. And so if you want to go for it, I have zero problem with it. Depending on my teams, it'll depend on how aggressive I am on him. I would love to have him. Doesn't mean I don't like the guy, but it's also me the way I play my leagues. But yeah, that I'm thinking more. You're going for the gusto. You're going for the ceiling of this player, and the ceiling of this player is you're not going to find it in most like FAABs the rest of the season. So
Yep.
that's my thought. All right. Other than that, with the Angels, there's not a whole lot.
No.
Seattle Mariners, they have 6 games coming up this week. 3 at Great American Small Park, 3 at the Toronto Blue Jays, 2 lefties, 4 righties. When they're in Great American, it's 1 lefty, 2 righties. So it's evenly split up this week. Anything you're seeing in Seattle, a team that just can't hit the baseball?
Yeah. No, it's a really bad week losing Victor Robles and Ryan Bliss, like basically for months. That for a lineup that already is kind of rough, that's kind of like a death blow. I always like Dylan Moore. I don't know why, somewhat irrationally so. I think Dylan Moore kind of has to play every day at this point. Like, who else are they going to throw out there? Dylan Moore typically is a short side platooner, only playing against lefties when Seattle's fully healthy, but they're not, and they're not going to be for a while. So I think Dylan Moore he's always a good power speed guy. He's eligible everywhere. Tiny sample, 32 plate appearances so far this season. He's cut the K rate down from, like, on average, he's like 29% down to 22% with fewer whiffs. Power's there. He's running. I like Dylan Moore as a decent pickup this week who's going to play and can fill a bunch of spots for you.
Yeah, I'm usually not the biggest Moore guy, but to your point, it makes sense. Coming into this week, especially with Great American on tap, take advantage of it, see where it runs. The other one I'll mention, if you want, is Luke Raley. He's going to continue to play. Like, he played his last game, he played versus lefty. He played in right field because Victor Robles was out. So we might see Luke Raley play more like 80% of the time now. Instead of like every lefty, he might play at least 2/3 or more of the lefties. The average isn't great, but he's got a homer. He's got 2 steals. His on base is pretty solid. He's got almost a 50%. He's like 45.5% hard hit rate, which is a massive plus as well. Just a 55% ground ball rate is crushing him at the moment. But if he can just shift that in the slightest of margins, we could see more improvements from Luke Raley. This is the guy that it's always and funny in the offseason looking at his numbers: 22-11, 19-14, hit 243 and 249. Like, those are very, very serviceable outfield numbers, especially if you're streaming them in weeks like this. At least, even if you want to stream them for the first half, just in Great American, like that's what you do when you get these like $1, $2 pickups. Like, it's totally fine. Against Lodolo, which is tough, with the Martinez Singer. They're not easy games, but they're not bad for Great American. So yeah, I would keep Luke Raley in mind as well.
Okay, I like that.
All right, the Texas Rangers, they have 6 games this week: 3 at home versus the Angels, 3 at home versus the Dodgers. 1 lefty, 5 righties, and they're just looking. They need Joe Boo to come through that clubhouse right now because no one's hitting the baseball, folks.
Wouldn't leave that rum sitting around here with this group.
Bartender, Joe Boo needs another shot.
Yeah, all I've got for the Rangers was the fallout of the Wyatt Langford injury. Like, again, Josh Smith is playing, but that's a 15-team play. I mean, Leody Taveras isn't doing much other than stealing a bunch of bags. But again, as I said earlier, you don't really want to be targeting certain categories this early in the season. If this was like late in the season, you need stolen bases, Leody Taveras would be an awesome pickup. But I don't know. I don't have much for Texas.
No, I don't. It's almost like if you want to stream against him, I don't hate, like, if Soriano should be widely rostered. Let me just triple check. Yeah, he's 100%, so never mind. But other than that, that'd be the only thing. I'd stream while you can before they blow up type situation.
Yep.
All right, so to the NL East here, the Atlanta Braves, 6 games this week: 3 at Toronto, 3 at home versus Minnesota. It's all right-handed pitchers, but they don't platoon a whole lot, so not a whole lot I can add to this one.
Nope, they don't. A big highlight here is get your Spencer Strider active for this week, and maybe not. Who knows if he's available in certain leagues or whatever. But Spencer Strider looks like he is coming back this week. It's an alrighty week, but we are beyond the days of recommending Jared Kelenic on this show. Brian De La Cruz is playing every day, but not doing
playing
anything
well too.
with it.
No, he's playing well.
He is.
You got to. I know he had an extra base hit today, and the. Maybe he's played. Let me pull up his page before I get too goofy. But yeah, he's hit safely this 5 straight games now. No homers, no RBIs, no steals. He's hitting for average, is what I'll say.
He's hitting 231.
But over the last 5 games, looking, he's feeling it. I'm just going off with the broadcasters for Atlanta when he hit his double. Like, man, he's playing so great for the team. Blah blah blah. All this kind of.
Well, he does. In 28 plate appearances, has 1 run, no RBI. Maybe today as one. I don't know.
I think that's a testament to the Braves too.
Maybe the Braves announcers are nipping some of that Jobu rum themselves.
Didn't the Braves have like a 66 WRC plus? They were on the struggle bus as well.
Yep.
So something to think about. Yeah. All right, let's head to the Miami Marlins. They have 6 games on tap this week. 3 at home versus Arizona, 3 at the Philadelphia Phillies. 2 lefties and 4 righties in this one for the Marlins. I don't have a lot for you here.
I don't. I'm somewhat interested / perplexed in the recent rise of Matt Mervis. Don't like him for this week because it is 4 righties and it's a couple good righties like Wheeler. And I don't think Matt Mervis is going to play against lefties, but entering kind of streamable options when the Miami Marlins face 5 or more righties. So just figured I'd give Matt Mervis a shout out, hitting barrels, striking out 40% of the time while doing so. But 3 homers already for Matt Mervis, which is bizarre.
That's the beauty of bad teams. Get playing time for anybody.
One other thing, need to throw a little bit of shade at the bus driver, Otto Lopez. It's just one of those things, like you're hyped on somebody throughout draft season. He has a great first 4 games. I don't think Otto Lopez has done very much recently. Not to say he's a drop or anything. It's ebbs and flows. Marcelo Ozuna walk-off in Atlanta as we speak. That was crushed. But Otto Lopez kind of quietly has been pretty bad after a hot start.
Yep. That is a very, very good point there as well. New York Metropolitans, they have 7 games this week, 3 at the Twins, 4 at home versus St. Louis. 1 lefty and 4 righties for the Mets. But is there anything we could actually utilize that for?
No.
Yeah, that's kind
I
of.
don't think so.
Because even Jesse Winker's sitting versus righties right now.
Right. It's exactly. Bizarre. Like normally I would say Winker, and maybe I'm just overreacting to how he's played, but I don't think the Mets really believe in Jesse Winker. I don't think Brett Beatty is worth adding. The only other thing I have for the Mets is Francisco Alvarez. It sounds like is coming back soon, starting a rehab assignment.
Started a rehab assignment. They're saying he's probably going to need at least a week or 2 to get ramped back, like a little spring training.
So it could be, and if maybe check to see if your Francisco Alvarez owner dropped him. I don't know what it's probably 100% in
80% in 12. 80%.
80%. So you could throw a couple bucks and maybe get a cheap Francisco Alvarez if you can stash him for a week and he'll be back. I don't know.
Yep. That's probably the only thing I could really recommend for the Mets on this one. Philadelphia Phillies, they have 7 games as well, 4 against the Giants, 3 against the Marlins, all at home for Philadelphia. 1 lefty, 6 righties on tap for the fighting Phils. They got a couple of lefties you can stream, but I'm really not Max Kepler. Maybe that's about it, but not a whole lot I'm too excited about.
Same Kepler. Yeah, Kepler's been all right. So if you're desperate, it's more a conditional thing. But a 6 righty week that does work if you're desperate for outfielders. Outside of that, I think the Phillies are going to be a team this year that we're just kind of always glossing over, at least from a lineup standpoint, because all the good ones are rostered and they play the same dudes every single day. So there's not too much. The only other thing I have is that kind of dirt in the, whatever the phrase is, spit in the wound, dirt in the wound, salt in the wound.
Salt in the wound. Yes.
You can drop Jordan Romano if you haven't already.
Yeah, there you go. Oof, man, leave the bad dad jokes to me. You just keep with the. No, I was kidding.
Romano did say they figured something out mechanically, and then he pitched the 8th on Tuesday night. So you never know, but Jose Alvarado seems to have the job right now.
Yeah, Max Kepler's 93% rostered. This is wild time.
Is he really?
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming either.
I'm way off on that then.
Yeah, I was with you. That's why I had to check. All right, Washington Nationals, they have 7 games as well this week, 4 at Pittsburgh, 4 in Coors Field, 3 lefties, 4 righties. So the first half of the week against Pittsburgh might be a tough Luis Garcia start because it's 2 lefties and 2 righties, unfortunately. But when he goes to Coors, it's 1 lefty and 2 righties, so he gets at least 2 games. It's still asinine that they're even doing that, but we have to, I think, at least mention that situation. Anything else here for the Nats?
Not really. We are on Gene Segura, maybe just for my own teams. I drafted a little bit of Jacob Young as like a 5th or 6th outfielder. He basically lost his job, and I think still on a couple of my teams for some reason.
Yeah.
So that's
He'll get it back soon when Dylan Cruz probably disappears.
yeah. Cruz is not. He's hitting 9th now. It's kind of rough. Alex Call is at least we know. I think we know who Alex Call is at this point, but Alex Call is actually producing and playing because Young is not. Alex Call is hitting 400, like struck out once, 27 plate appearances. Maybe there's some speed there, but you got to be pretty desperate in outfield to be looking at Alex Call.
Call me maybe. All right. All right. The Chicago Cubs, they have 6 games this week. 3 at the Padres. I mentioned this last week. They have the goofiest schedules. Like West Coast, go home for a series, back to the West Coast, then back to home to face Arizona for 3. All right-handed pitchers for the Cubs to face. But the Cubs lineup is pretty much set in stone these days, and it's a beautiful thing. I guess it means Michael Busch should play every day, which will be a plus.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Cause yeah, this is a beautiful lineup outside of Matt Shaw at this point, but Michael Busch probably will play a bunch, if not every single day. And it's a good schedule. So, well, actually it's funny. I look at the planner. So like the planner says, I mean, these are the stats. It's right. But I flipped it over to 2025 numbers and it's a 7% K- walk, which is terrible for the pitchers facing the Cubs this week. But a bunch of those guys are Dylan Cease, Nick Pivetta, Corbin Burns, Zach Gallen. So it's a tougher schedule than you see with the green on the weekly planner. So just know we are still very much in small sample mode.
Most definitely. Cincinnati Reds, they have 6 games this week, 3 at home versus Seattle, 3 at the Baltimore Orioles. It looks like we're waiting for it should be Kyle Gibson, so there should be 6 righties on the week for the Reds to face, which is good if they were fully healthy and platooning, but right now I think they're just trying to start a lineup with a pulse at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at Gavin Lux, Jake Fraley again, but like those guys have not really done much. The only other Reds note that I have is I think Andrew Abbott is coming back this week, but it's Andrew Abbott. So
yeah.
So I don't know. I just say names at this point, I think.
It's all good. That's what we're doing. We're trying to discuss it to see if it even fits type situation. Milwaukee Brewers, they have 6 games this week, all at home. They get the Detroit Tigers for 3, and then the Athletics for 3. 2 lefties, 4 righties. Brew Crew's bats woke up in Coors Field this week. We'll see how sustainable that is. But anybody of interest, like we're not seeing a lot of platooning period in baseball right now, which is pretty crazy. It's because all the injuries probably. But anybody of interest to you? Because Garrett Mitchell is a platoon bat now, which is depressing.
Yeah, and that's one note I had there is Mitchell. He's a tough start given how he hasn't really done much, and it is a platoon, so he's only going to start 4 times this week. So that's tough for Garrett Mitchell. Outside of that, it's like Oliver Dunn. You're not doing that. It was nice to see our King William. I put the reverse speculator jinx on King William this week, saying he didn't have a home run or an RBI through I think 31 plate appearances, and of course right after I submit it, goes deep in Coors. So nice to see King William. We had talked about William Contreras' bat speed being down and K's up and all that sort of thing, but do think he will be fine. Nice to see him actually start to do something unlike Wilson. Jesus.
Yes, Wilson and there's a lot of struggle buses early on. Don't panic, folks. Pittsburgh. Oh, and I will say South Frelick, who is playing every day, 98% no Cs. Well done, people. Well done. Coors probably helped with that. Pittsburgh, they have 7 games this week, all at home. 4 against the Nats, 3 versus the Cleveland Guardians. It should be 5 righties, 2 lefties in this situation. Who are you targeting here? Because a lot of them are available if you're interested.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could throw IKF out there, kind of Falefa for batting average and steals. I've kind of mentioned him a ton. Jack Sawinski's leading off against righties, it looks like, but this is the bad part of Jack Sawinski that we don't want. Super streaky guy. We'll get to 2 steps, but We're not two steps. Just upcoming schedules is who is it? Heaney and Falter. The next
Yes.
Andrew Heaney and Bailey Falter. Their next 3 games, they go to at Cincinnati this weekend, and they're both lefties. So again, if you're in daily moves or whatever this weekend, Cincinnati's been awful against lefties and they're banged up. That's nice. Then they get at home against Washington and then at the Angels for their next 2 starts following this weekend. So Andrew Heaney and Bailey Falter, as much as it's kind of crazy to say that, depending on what your pitching looks like, those guys could be kind of streamable starters for the next few turns in the rotation.
Yep, that's a great call. I'm kind of bummed I drafted Heaney with my last pick in an OC just to stream him for the early start. I could have probably utilized him every start since.
Didn't he dominate like the Yankees his last start?
Yes, the Yankees. It's crazy because baseball. But good call there. I'll shout out Brian Hayes. Talked about him with Ben on Monday. I added him in a 12 this past week because, like, if you have a Cam Smith or a Matt Shaw, Brian Hayes is quite serviceable. He's been either leading off or hitting third or fourth or fifth a lot of games right now. So he's playing every day. What I liked about Brian, that kind of is something we've always said when he was called up, like his average is still sketchy right now. There's no denying that, but he's got a homer. He's got 2 steals. He scored 7 runs. He's only striking out 13.7% of the time while walking almost 10%. Those are both career highs, career high and a career low, if you know what I mean, what I'm trying to say there. So small sample, but positive things from Hayes. A 7.7% barrel. That's better. That's back to like his 2023 numbers of 51% hard hit rate for Brian Hayes, which is awesome. A 38% ground ball rate after being 52, 42, 49, 56. My point is he is showing the signs of life we've been wanting to see from him. The batting average isn't great, but Brian Hayes is in a small sample. The hit tool looks a lot better. The plate discipline looks a lot better. This could be it. Health has always been a thing with him, but he's quote unquote healthy right now. So take your chances on him. He's like 62% rostered in 12s. I think that's one of those cheapies right now that you could potentially enjoy if this trend keeps moving along in the right direction from him.
Yep. That's the last thing I was going to add is Brian Hayes is healthy right now. And I think, good for him. He's basically his career's been decimated by injuries, but for all those reasons you just said, I like Brian Hayes. I almost didn't mention him because I thought he was more rostered in 12s than that, but yep. Also, this is just, again, trying to search for saves on bad teams. Basically no save opportunities for the Pirates this week. Yes. So like Dennis Santana, we think he's the closer, but like how many saves are you going to get? Technically Thomas Harrington got a 60 pitch save on Monday. He was just closing out the last 3 innings, but it's frustrating.
They got a bus trip back to Indianapolis.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Congratulations, Thomas.
Yeah, no, Santana's last outing was on Wednesday through 2 innings to kind of preserve that game. It wasn't a save situation. So, yeah, not great.
Same with we already talked about Miami, but Anthony Bender, no save ops for him. It's frustrating on these bad teams.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But the last thing I'll mention is Bubba Chandler watch is officially on. They're supposed to name.
Yes.
They're supposed to name Harrington's replacement on Friday. So let's just.
So you think this is coming?
Never say never or never get too excited with the Pirates, but it feels like we're pretty darn close because I thought it would be a May thing like Skeens, but I think they wanted the Harrington experiment to hopefully last a little longer. And Chandler looked outstanding in his last start. Like you can only do that for so long. Type thing.
Yes, exactly. You have someone who's that good. Like you are at this point probably wasting bullets by not having KC Bubba Chandler. I'm going to call him in the thing. So.
Yes, he can join Team Paris. We can have some fun. All right. St. Louis Cardinals to wrap up the NL Central. They have 7 games this week, 3 at home versus Houston, 4 at the New York Mets. 2 lefties and 5 righties coming their way. One of the best offenses in baseball to start the year, but from a fantasy perspective, let alone a streaming perspective, kind of complicated.
Yeah, complicated. I don't have much. Thomas Ajaysi got called up this week and I believe hit a home run in his first game back, I want to say, but not playing enough. Just kind of filling in at second and third base, so there's not much there. Pedro Pajes, I think, was more semi-popular ad last week in FAAB just because of the Ivan Herrera injury. But that's pretty much all I have for the Cardinals. If you have Wilson Contreras, just like we're saying, wait it out. It'll come, I think.
Yes.
He'll come, but yeah, it's frustrating.
Yes, indeed, in all facets there. All right, let's head to the NL West, the Arizona Diamondbacks. 6 games this week, all on the road. 3 at the Miami Marlins, 3 at the Chicago Cubs. Not bad. You go to South Beach to Wrigleyville. That's a fun week if you're a young Arizona Diamondback right there. 6 righties on tap for the D-backs, which means it's another Pavin Smith week, which I'm going to pull it up right now. Should be
Who
widely
is he?
rostered.
Yeah, he's only 26. No, he's only 25% in 12.
He went deep. He hit his first home run. It was like Wednesday. Definitely a Pavin Smith week. That needs to be fixed quickly.
That needs to be fixed quickly and will be a very popular ad this week, just because not only is it 6 righties, it's Max Meyer's been okay. Quantrill, Sandy, but then it's Ben Brown, Colin Ray, Jameson Tyler. Like it's a good
boys.
It's a good run for Pavin. What do you think about Geraldo Perdomo is hitting well, is only 25 years old. Again, I feel like he's 29 or something. He's been around. Hitting second. I don't know what his roster ship is in
64%.
Are you okay? 64%. What do you think about Geraldo Perdomo?
I'm not the biggest Perdomo fan. We talked about him on Monday. He was a popular ad last week to get to the 64%. I've heard some other people talk highly of him. I said he's not a power source. He went deep the next day, so you're welcome. I still don't think he's a big power guy. He's a mediocre. Like he's there for his glove, but he's hitting second right now.
Yep,
and that will have its validity to it. And so if you need middle infield help, he's going to play every day because of the bats, because of the glove. And they're going to hit him second. This is a great offense. A lot of runs can be scored. So I get it. At first, I thought he was still hitting towards the bottom of the order, but I get it hitting second.
And as TDK mentions in the chat, our guy, TDK, good to see you, man. Perdomo, tons of upside because of the team usage. Kind of basically what you were saying. The Diamondbacks love Geraldo Perdomo. Signed him to a long extension before the season, hitting him second, like you said, in that lineup. It's a good spot to be. The strikeouts are way down. It's like a 3% K rate through 55 plate appearances. He's got a couple bags. Like, yeah, I don't think the power is all that, but like maybe if he pops 10 homers and can steal 20 bags and hit for a good batting average, like that's very useful as a middle infielder. So just kind of someone who's sneaking up on us a little bit. Geraldo Perdomo. Last thing with Arizona that I mentioned this before, but just continuing to monitor the Alec Thomas over Jake McCarthy saga. I think Jake McCarthy's ship has sailed. You need to move on there.
Yeah, the problem is it's like so 50-50 that you can't even pick one of the two, right?
I know. Yeah, it's more of a drop of McCarthy than it is like an ad of Alec Thomas, because you're right. You'd like to see him just commit to one from a fantasy aspect.
Yeah, that's the struggle bus approach to it. All right. Yes, Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom says over under 1 steal for Corbin Carroll this week. I'll say the over, but yeah, it's been wild. Does he not have a steal at all yet, Corbin Carroll?
No, still waiting.
Crazy.
All right, Colorado Rockies. They got 3 games at the Dodgers and 3 at home versus the Nats. The Nats is Gore, the good Lord, and Irvin in that one. 1 lefty and 5 righties on the weekend, and Coors is 1 lefty and 2 righties. What stands out to you for the Rockies this week? Maybe Chase Dollander. Do you feel some Dollander? I think he should be at home versus the Nats next week.
Yeah, I mean, so depending on like who's available in what leagues, the Rockies might be the most interesting FAAB team this week because it's Zach Veen and Dollander. Maybe Veen is Veen is widely rostered. He's more like if 11%. He was drafted and dropped. Yeah, he's only 11% in 12s. Okay. So Zach Veen and Chase Dollander are I think going to be targets. We will get a second look at Chase Dollander this weekend, I believe, right?
Padres.
FAAB. Yeah, that's right. A stern test against the Padres. Maybe this is just lazy analysis. I don't love rookies in Coors. Don't really love anybody in Coors, especially for the long haul of a season, which once we get summer Coors, it's going to be really tough. So I will probably bid on Dollander, but I don't think I will be there. Not a knock on his talent. I know Martin Sokolsky is very high on Chase Dollander, the kind of the talent, but it's a tough spot to pitch.
Yeah, I'll definitely have some bids in on him. I like him quite a bit. Would love to see that one go strong. I like Zach Veen a lot too. I think everyone's
what
going
about
to.
Veen? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know they're totally separate positions, but like, how would you rank Veen and Dolander in terms of just rest of season impact?
Veen, I think, has a better impact just because of he's being a bat
Same.
and like pitching in Coors. So it's more what I'm curious to see how like Kyron Paris and the 20% available versus the 90% of Zach Veen. Where's the money go? Question.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing. At least in the leagues where they're both available. That'll be a fun situation on the bidding because I think Veen, barring a screw up, is going to be up for the whole season. Where Paris could get kind of yo-yoed at times if he struggles. So Zach Veen could be a very, very interesting one.
Who's Miller? Is that Bobby Miller? Fangraphs
Yeah, it's got to
projecting
be
for
Bobby
LA.
Miller. And that says
I
not
don't
even
know.
Landon
That's
Knack.
right.
Landon Knack's pitching next week. They've already said
Yeah,
he's.
they have Knack
You
listed.
have,
They have May, Knack, then Miller, then
okay.
Gore, the Good Lord, and Jake Irvin. So I don't know.
Let me see. Let me see. I got RotoWire up here. They have Bobby Miller as well. Interesting.
Who?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't want to get excited, but there will be bids on Bobby Miller if that is the case. I don't know if the control issues.
I will not put a bid in on Bobby Miller. No, just throw that to the sun. I'm fine being wrong on things. That's one I will be wrong on. Okay, the dude, he's pitched in 2 games, 1 start. He's thrown 9 2/3 innings. Has a 2.79 ERA, a 6.30 xFIP at AAA so far. He has a 17.5% K rate and a 20% walk rate, which, if you do the quick math, is a minus 2.5% K to walk.
It's just numbers, man. Don't worry about it.
You're the numbers guy. You should appreciate that.
I know. Roles reversed.
I can't.
Yeah, no, that's wild. That was not even on my radar. Bobby Miller potentially coming back this week, but I don't know. Rockies wise, yeah, I think I will be bidding. We'll see how Zach Veen does, but I think the Rockies. Who the hell knows? Like, why didn't Zach Veen just start the season in the majors? But Zach Veen has started every game since he got called up from AAA. I am very interested in Zach Veen this weekend. A little bit under the radar, like 15 teamers. He's playing every day. I have a soft spot for Kyle Farmer, who's eligible everywhere, but probably more just as a streamer once things get cooking in Coors. But someone I'm at least looking at, I think, is hitting over 300 right now. Kyle Farmer is. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad shout to 15er, especially with that weekend Coors situation. And honestly, if it's Bobby Miller, Knack, and May, it's not the worst set of Dodgers pitchers to face.
There you go. Like, that's right.
All things considered, it's a good week to be a Rockies bat, personally. Wow, Bobby Miller, that might be the highlight of the show for me. Whew, man, I can't wait to play DFS.
I was thinking, I was like, is there, because we only put last names of the pitchers. I didn't want to sound like an idiot. It's like, is there a Miller on LA that I'm obviously missing? Because I obviously miss things a lot, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Whatever.
Man, that's neither have I. That's interesting. Oh, it kind of makes sense because they're trying. They had Robleski go, then Knack. They took Robleski back out. They're bringing Miller up. That's what it looks like.
That
interesting.
Kind of makes sense, I guess.
Wow. Speaking of those Dodgers, they have 6 games this week. 3 at home versus Colorado, 3 at the Texas Rangers, 6 righties on tap for the Dodgers bats to face. But when it comes to Dodgers bats,
they gone.
Pretty much, yeah.
They gone.
Not happening, dog. So, yeah, you want to pick up Bobby Miller, Ryan says. Andy Pajes is only 26% rostered. He's gone deep twice this week.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. Andy Pajes, I think he's only hitting like 220 something like, or no,
horrific start.
170. But we both really liked Andy Pajes coming into the season, at least before the Dodgers signed Teoscar and Conforto, and playing time kind of went out the window, but it's back. And if we like Pajes before the season, we can't not like him now over 50 plate appearances. So this could be someone who you kind of buy low on by the dip here with Andy Pajes, who is playing.
Yeah, it's a very small sample. He's safely in the last 3 games, 2 homers. He's homered in back-to-back games. The 12% walk rate is nice. The 33% K rate is not. But even with the 171 average and everything, he still has a 92 WRC plus. He's almost league average without hitting well because of the plate discipline or it's not really discipline if he's striking out, but you know what I'm trying to say. As walking the way he's walking, and 8% barrel, 32% hard hit. I'm just trying to like see if there's anything else positive here to see with Pages. Yeah, ground ball rate's only 36%, 48% fly ball, 60. Yeah, I like the kid still. Like I think there's still a lot of meat on that bone. So it'd be a good time to get back on the train since they're still playing them every day. They face Sensatella, Feltner, Marquez to start the week. Then DeGrom, Rocker, Eovaldi. That's a little trickier, but at least the first half of the week, that's a good stream in Pages.
Feltner. I love how I keep getting trolled in the Discord every time Feltner does well.
Boy.
It's ridiculous.
Boy. That's your boy. All right, San Diego Padres. They have 6 games this week, 3 at home or Chicago, 3 at the Houston Astros, 3 lefties, 3 righties. Move along.
Yeah, there's really nothing here.
Well,
maybe Oscar Gonzalez.
Injury news. Watch the injury news this weekend because Tatis, Cronenworth are supposed to be back on Friday. Let's wait and see type situation.
Yeah, but like even if they're hurt, I mean, who are you?
Yeah, you're not. Unless Tirso gets the call.
Yeah, that's true. Unless we see the body
which he's
part.
not, which he won't because it's the Padres, but that'd be the guy.
Yeah. I do think if Oscar Gonzalez plays, it might be a short side platoon, so you don't do it, but keep an eye on Oscar Gonzalez. I think we talked about him on Tuesday in a 15-team outfield. He would be a conditional for me, but we'll see.
Yes, sir. And last but certainly not least, the San Francisco Giants, 7 games this week, all on the road. 4 at Philadelphia, then they come back west for 3 at the Angels, 4 lefties, 3 righties. On the weekend, it's 2 lefties and 1 righty. So if you want to stream Luis Matos for the weekend to face Anderson and Kikuchi, that's fine. But as a whole, there's not a whole lot of streaming taking place in San Francisco.
Agreed.
Yeah. And the pitching wise, Landon Roop, we'll talk 2 steps in a minute. Jordan Hicks still has Philadelphia. He was one of the most popular ads in last week, and can't wrap my head around that one, but to each their own for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. That's all 30 teams. All 30 teams, schedules in the books. Any final thoughts before we talk most added and dropped according to Fantrax this year? Fantrax.
Let's flip over to that and just see if we got everybody. It's interesting. Just so the top 3, the top 3 ads this week so far on Fantrax. And the reason we do this is Fantrax has a lot of daily leagues. So we're actually looking at the changes in ownership since basically the last FAAB period. So I think it's very useful for FAAB leagues. It's Zach McKinstry, Alex Call, Trent Grisham. Like those are the top 3 ads. I don't like either or any really of those guys in terms of like bidding big on. They may be conditional. So you got a bunch of catchers here, which warms Bubba's heart. Carson Kelly, Carlos Narvaez, who I talked about with the Red Sox. Dylan Dingler. I would rank Dingler probably as the top catcher ad this week if he's available. Outside of that, I don't know. I'm not seeing Zach Veen. I think Zach Veen is the hitter to add this week.
On Fantrax, he's probably already rostered.
Yeah, but Fantrax does have a lot of keeper dynasties, so a lot of that is a good point. A lot of those kind of top end prospects are already pretty highly rostered, so they don't rise a whole lot.
With this list, though, you went right over him because he wasn't a catcher. But Mike Yastrzemski, I wanted to highlight him as well. Okay. He won't play much. He sits first lefty, so this is not the week to get Mike Yastrzemski. But like going in the following week, like if you want to be early for $1, if you're really wanting to start saving money, the following week the Giants potentially face 6 righties out of 7 games. So that's a Yaz week, and I wanted to bring Yaz up because dude's hitting 344 with 2 homers and 2 steals on the season, walking 18% of the time with a 25.5% K rate. Like he is
pretty good.
I expect it to end at some point because he's always been streaky, but he's as locked in as I've ever seen him. Like I've seen him for a handful of years now, and he has his moments, but a 13.6% barrel rate's a career high. Only a 36.4% hard hit rate, but he's maximizing the barrels essentially. Ground ball rate's down to 32%. Like he is playing very, very well. He had a walk-off dong the other day on Wednesday's getaway day. So someone to monitor. Like he won't play much this week, but in daily leagues, he's very good. And if you want to get him cheap for the following week, Yaz is he's hitting it well, so right away it's hot type situation.
That could be the move. Get him for $1 now and start him next week. That's that 2-step ahead type thing, which I'm usually not there.
I'll try to help. That's one thing I like to do a lot is get him super cheap early if I can.
Yep.
Yeah, other than that, though, most of this list, like we mentioned Mervis, but Bader was
Now
a
it
guy
seems
we
more
talked about last
reactionary
week.
to me this
Yeah,
week in
yep,
terms of the ads.
definitely.
I highlighted Pavin Smith on the list here. Again, the list. So the list for those not watching has the BATX projections plus their year-to-date skills. So you can kind of see color-coded where all these guys are at. But Pavin Smith, just to kind of reiterate, really good week to go with Pavin.
Yeah, probably my top guy that we talked about today. Close to it, at least.
Yeah.
All right, or outside of like your Parishes and your Veens. Let's talk about the pitching side. And it's fitting that Easton Lucas and Shane Smith lead the way for this one.
It is the battle of I don't know, guys that will probably disappoint both of us. Tyler Mahle is number 3. We did
Dude, he was
not
one of
talk
the most.
about him.
He was super popular last week when we recapped FAAB. It was bizarro world to me. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
I can't get there either. I mean, it's only been 13 innings so far this year. The control is pretty wild, and you just never know when the next injury is going to hit Tyler Mahle. So I don't like that. Landon Knack is. I think Landon Knack has a good matchup coming up. It's Colorado, isn't it? Yeah, it's at home against Colorado this week.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't get much better.
That's a good one. Yep.
And then like you got Harvey for those deeper leagues. I would not touch Taiwan Walker. This is a reactionary list here. Quinn Priester is interesting. That's one guy we didn't really talk about. He made his Brewers debut on Thursday in Colorado as he got traded to the Rockies from Boston. 5 innings, 1 run, 4 Ks, 2 walks, like nothing over the moon, but he's going to pick up the rock every 5 days because Milwaukee has zero choice right now. They just want pulses. He gets Detroit this next week, and then the following week he's got at the Giants and he might have 2 starts or just 1 that's up in the air, but he could have at the Giants and at St. Louis. So Priester makes sense at least to be on this list. I'm not running to get him. He's probably more of a 15 than a 12, but the Detroit matchup's not great, but not bad. Like they are hitting righties very well, but I can see it.
And then just to wrap it up, you like Easton Lucas more than Shane Smith?
Yes,
just to put a bow on the pitcher side.
To be fair, Shane Smith probably has a job longer than Easton Lucas.
What about Bobby Miller? If I throw him into that,
no,
I'm just kidding.
I'd rather have an empty roster spot to start Bobby Miller. I don't care if I'm not playing that game anymore. It's so bad right now. Like there's so much scar tissue. So much.
I just want to get you going. I just randomly throw him in there.
Like I'm excited the Dodgers are throwing him out there. I can't wait to watch that game. Like I might playback TV. Let's go. Like put me on for that one.
Give me a case of Noons and watch Bobby Miller last an inning and 2/3.
Little Wednesday day game at Chavez Ravine. We're in the bleachers, folks. Let's have
How many Noons can you crush during a 70 pitch 1 2/3 outing with 5 walks for Bobby Miller?
I'll shotgun a Noon for every dong he gives up. Let's do it. Got some fun in that game for sure. All right, let's head to the 2 steps for the week before this one goes really off the rails as it's late on a Thursday evening. D-backs, Merrill Kelly at Miami at Chicago Cubs.
No, Merrill Kelly might be cooked.
He very well 7.2 ERA might be good. The Miami start's great, but that could backfire. Yeah. And Miami's they're that sneaky team that like once a week they're going to blow somebody up. That's just what they do.
And it could be Merrill Kelly.
Exactly. The A's, Jeffrey Springs at the White Sox at Milwaukee. If you saved him this long, you better throw him.
Yeah, if you've got him, you're absolutely throwing Jeffrey Springs. You have to.
Because it has not been pretty up till now. Atlanta Braves, Grant Holmes at Toronto versus Minnesota. Let's talk about Grant Holmes for a minute. He's going 4 innings in both starts because he can't. His pitch count's all the way up. They're not taking him early.
I know.
It's a little concerning, honestly.
It's very concerning. A ton of walks last time. Only went 4, but I think threw like 92 pitches or something.
Yeah, so it wasn't because like they're on an innings limit for him. He hit his mark.
And it's a 37% ball rate. So it's the control is not there. It's a 40% ball rate. Jesus, I was looking at Clay Holmes. It's a 40% ball rate, which is league average like 36. 40 is really bad. Missing bats kind of, so that's good. But yeah, you want to see Grant Holmes get more efficient and do that rather quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm like having trouble starting him. Like he's not a drop for me yet, but he's getting towards that window. He's almost a streamer pretty soon, which is in a 12.
Same. I like Grant Holmes too much in draft season to even think about dropping him yet, but he's benched on some of my 15s.
He's on the radar right now. But to the question, at Toronto versus Minnesota, you got to do it, right?
Yeah, you throw it. Yep, you throw it. It's not the worst two-step out there.
All right, Dean Kramer versus Cleveland versus Cincinnati.
Oh, the Dean.
He's having
pretty
a rough
nice.
start.
Pretty nice schedule, but yeah, not missing bats, not getting many Ks. I'm not going with Dean Kramer this week.
I'd say 15s. I would. 12s probably no. Boston, Tanner Houck at Tampa versus the White Sox.
Yes, yeah, you throw that. Tanner Houck has not been good this year, but you throw it. Yep.
Jamison Taillon at San Diego versus Arizona.
No,
that's a no.
You do not.
That's a no. Nick Lodolo, you're starting. Logan Allen at Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I am rolling.
You're rolling with that? I am not.
It's scary.
At Baltimore could be a nuclear bomb.
It could be. It could be. At Pittsburgh could be things that dreams are made of, though.
True.
So here we are. Colorado.
Was he a two-step last week?
He was supposed to be, and then the rotation got mixed around. I picked him up for last week's two-step, and here we are. And Logan Allen gets Boston the following week, so he'll be dropped after next week, unless he just dazzles for 2 starts. Colorado will skip that one. We don't need to talk about Anthony Senzatella. Sean Burke for the White Sox versus the A's at Boston.
No.
Nope, not for me either. Detroit, you're starting Skubal and Flaherty. Houston, you're starting Framber. Royals, Lugo, and Waka versus the at Yankees at Detroit.
That's tough, but I think you're starting both those guys.
Yep, I'd say so, especially in 15s. And 12s, if you have something better for Waka, I get it, but I still think he's worth a start in 12s too. Angels, you're starting Kikuchi at Texas versus the Giants, yes?
Ooh. But it's been ugly. But yes.
It has been, but yeah, I'm rolling still. We're still rolling.
Yep.
Max Meyer versus Arizona at Philly. Those are 2 tough offenses.
That's 2 tough offenses, but Max Miller's been pretty good. Missing some bats, good strikeout to walk. So I would do it. Probably even in 12s, but it's a scary set of matchups there.
I'll be rolling him out there unless I have just an ace that I have to start the 1 start for type situation. Milwaukee, Tyler Alexander versus Detroit versus the Athletics.
I don't think so, man. But Tyler Alexander always pitches well and proves me wrong every now and then. But no, I don't.
Well, and he's an opener right now. He's only going 3 innings. So
unless
they fully start stretching him out, that's a tough one. Joe Ryan, you're starting him. Clay Holmes, Tyler McGill at Minnesota versus St. Louis.
Yes and yes. I just don't think the St. Louis lineup. They have been good, but I don't think they're that good.
Yep, Seiler's going to try to keep that ERA under 1, baby. Yep. Max Fried and Clark Schmidt returns. We get versus Kansas City at Tampa Bay.
Yes, you obviously Fried looked great his last time out, but I would do Schmidt as well.
Yeah, if you're going to pick Schmidt up, you might as well rock and roll. Taijuan Walker and Jesus Luzardo versus San Francisco versus Miami.
Oh yeah, let's go.
That's why
let's Taijuan on.
I saw the Miami. I'm like, well, I got to mention him. I can't just ignore him now.
I think you throw that, right?
Yeah, I think you do too. That's there's some vomit getting not fully in my mouth.
Yeah, maybe you don't, but Taijuan Walker will be thrown out there
a lot
as a sacrificial lamb in 15 teamers.
He'll be thrown out there in 12s. He'll be because I'm gonna look. He's got to be widely. Taijuan Walker is 1% rostered in 12 right now. Dude, he'll be over 30% by next time we talk. So
Jesus.
I hit the Jesus Lizard for sure. Walker in 15s, yes. 12s, you better have a better option.
I think you got to have something better there.
You're starting Skeens, you're starting Cease, you're starting Luis Castillo, Landon Roop, and Justin Verlander at Philly at the Angels.
I would throw, but didn't Verlander strike out 9?
Well, I also get 5 runs. I also get 5. His ERA is almost 7.
I'd throw Roop. Would you throw Verlander?
I would not throw Verlander. I'd throw Roop. Verlander will have a good start like every 3 or 4 starts, and then there's going to be some just massive grinds.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll go Roop. Verlander, not for me. Sonny Gray versus Houston at the Mets. Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's back. He's looking really good, actually.
He is. He
for
is.
as concerned as I was entering opening day.
He's going full Zach Greinke. I don't need the ring training. We're just going to throw.
He doesn't.
Soft
I mean,
back
he's an
there.
old. Like,
Yep.
he's done this shit before.
Yep. Ryan Pepio, Zach Lytle versus Boston versus the Yankees. It's a tough schedule. It's a tough schedule.
I'd roll
God.
Pepio out there, I think, but not
Yes.
not my guy Lytle. Gave up 7.
Lytle's got lit up today, so he's not going out there. But Pepio 15s for sure. 12s, that's not a guaranteed. That's a team dependent
especially
situation.
at home. Like, you think at home is good, but with the Rays,
No. Ben Rice might hit 3 home runs over the weekend. Texas does not have, because they're mixing around so many guys in there, because Jack Leiter's supposed to come back next week, so changes that up. Toronto, Kevin Gausman versus Atlanta versus Seattle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then we go to Washington, to the good Lord, Brad Lord. He gets at Pittsburgh, at Colorado. Jake Irvin has at Pittsburgh, at Colorado as well.
It's a decent 2-step for our Lord, but maybe not our Savior. Brad
Yes.
Lord.
We might start the week as our Lord and end as something else in Colorado.
It's a great 2-step.
Yep.
6% swinging strike right now for Brad Lord.
You mean a pitch to contact guy in Coors? That sounds great.
Yeah, Jake Irvin, not much better. I don't think I'd roll with either. If you had to pick one, I'd go Irvin over our good Lord, but man.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'll just avoid that one. Like, I'd rather pitch Lucas Irseg than either one of those guys.
Yeah, get 2 or 3 good innings for the week.
And I think that's why he's still like 80% rostered, because literally look at some of these matchups right now, Ryan. It's like I'd throw Lucas out there and get his 4 Ks over 6 1/3 innings right now.
Yeah.
So, but all right, there we got it. Week 4 FAAB preview in the books. Any final thoughts as the fun is just getting started?
The fun is absolutely getting started. It is here. Pretty good rundown. Again, covered a bunch. Not the biggest FAAB week it looks like, but we'll see. A couple more days, but I don't know.
Yeah, one of my smaller list of names, but the way the injury list is going, we might get a few more to pops up this week to join the FAAB column. But should be a good one. Again, don't panic, folks. We have 5.5. If you do the quick math, that's like 22. Well, we have 23 FAAB periods left after this. So we have a long ways to go to fix your teams, to improve your teams, to do all kinds of things to your teams, to overreact later on. So just be patient.
Ruin your
team,
teams,
folks. Yes, I'm good at that as well. But we'll be here to keep you covered along the way here and on the Patreon. Ryan whipped up the new updated minor league leaderboard today. You got that going. You got Bloom boards coming out next week.
That's out, live Bloom boards next week. I'm excited for that. Just putting some final touches on it. That'll be kind of the 3-prong thing: the weekly planner, the minor league board, and live blue boards for our in-season tool offerings on the Patreon.
I can't wait. That the Bloom board one, just because of what we looked at on Tuesday, I have that update all the time. That's gonna be a DFS godsend for me. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Lots of great stuff there. But we'll wrap it up there. Make sure you follow Ryan on Twitter at RyanBHQ, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod, and on Patreon at patreon.com/Bubba Bloom. I'm at BD Entrick. This was Bubba and the Bloom, episode 233. Enjoy the Masters this weekend, everybody. Catch you all later.